Hello! So I received a ridiculous amount of messages following on from a post that I did last week all about anorexia nervosa. And the post was I wrote the post because I wanted people to understand what it's like for somebody who's struggling with anorexia nervosa, or maybe just like an eating disorder in general. And a lot of people was like, that's really helped, but how did you recover? And I get asked this a lot, but I have swerved the question quite a few times because every eating disorder is different, and I don't think there's a single eating disorder that is the same. We all have different triggers, we all have different reasons as to why we've fallen into the eating disorder, we all have different kind of traits in an eating disorder, and I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to do to talk about recovery. However, like over the years, when I've spoken to different people who have struggled with eating disorders and people who still are struggling with eating disorders, I've started to realise that there are quite a few things which are actually quite similar in every single person's eating disorder. And that's kind of what I want to share with you today on how you can use those things to help you get better. So, I'm just going to cut straight to it. So number one is, an eating disorder is a choice. And as out of control as you feel, you need to realise that it is a choice. And the moment you start to realise that the whole eating disorder and the thoughts, everything that's coming with the eating disorder, the sooner you realise that that is a choice, you will start to kind of say no to the thoughts that are in your head, and you will start to challenge the thoughts and feelings that the eating disorder is bringing to you. And the more you start to challenge them, say this is the eating disorder voice and this is yours when you're in the depth of your eating disorder, the more you start to challenge, like, this will happen, and your voice will get louder and louder, and you will start to take back that control. And a lot of people will see an eating disorder as they are so in control, and if they recover then they are going out of control, they're completely out of control of food, they're out of control of everything. But I just want you to know that if you recover, you are more in control than you ever have been in your whole life. You're in control of living your life to your absolute full, and just do not let the eating disorder make you feel like that is your everything and that is how your life has to be and how you have to live. You can make that choice. The number two, which I think is really important, and it's really quite obvious, but I know that a lot of people don't do it because they're ashamed, they're scared of being judged, maybe they can't afford to get the help. It's speaking up, and it's opening up about what is going on in here. You know, if you go through life trying to bottle everything up, it just gets bigger and bigger. It's like a kettle. So you put cold water into a kettle, everything's fine, and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And this is what's happening as more and more thoughts keep entering your mind, more and more kind of things you go through in life, and then it just boils and explodes. And that's how I see kind of mindset and mental health. And I know that I started to struggle with my eating disorder because of numerous different things, which I just kind of like laughed off and was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll get over it, put it to the back of my mind. And before I knew it, that's kind of started this eating disorder and started this form of control and this significant feeling that I needed. So I was really lucky from really early in my eating disorder to get a private therapist, and I know not everybody is able to do that, and I know the NHS can be quite slow to get therapy. So there are so many other things that you can do. There's websites like Beat, where you don't even have to pick up the phone if you don't want to. You can do it all via like chat room and like Messenger and things like that. And then when you feel ready, you could pick up the phone and speak to somebody, or just start to open up to your friends and your family. Like, they will not judge. Your friends and family are fully aware of what is going on. Maybe they don't know how you feel inside here, but they want to know because they want to help. So yeah, please speak up, because the more you can speak up, the more you can start to just kind of like offload those thoughts and get them out of your head. And then you'll just start to feel a little bit clearer. And you know, I didn't cooperate with my therapist for like the first 6 months of having it because I didn't want to recover. But going back to number one, I chose to recover. I decided I do not want to live my life like this anymore. I am going to choose recover, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get better. And that is when I started to cooperate with my therapist, and that is when my life started to change. Last but not least is you need to understand that recovery isn't just physical. It's not just what you look like. And I think that's something which, you know, I see that kind of goes wrong with help that somebody gets with an eating disorder. A lot of people and you know, health professionals are incredible, but I think if you've not kind of been through it, you don't fully understand. I see recovery as two sides. I see physical and mental, and physical is the easy part, and although it's tough mentally to overcome the kind of weight gain and things like that, to get back to a healthy weight, you just need to eat. That is literally what you need to do. Eat your calories, drink your calories, do whatever you need to do to get back up to a healthy weight. That is all you need to do. The hard part is the mental. So you can get back to your healthy weight, and everybody could think, oh, she's fine now because she's back to like a healthy BMI, everything like that. But mentally, you're still having these horrible thoughts every single day. You're still scared of so many foods. You still feel like you have to be in control of everything in your life. That's not healthy, and that's not recovered. So that side of things, again, you know, therapy is going to help with that. But you need to start challenging those thoughts and challenging yourself. So for me, I was so scared of so many foods. When I was diagnosed with anorexia, I was diagnosed with orthorexia as well, which, if you don't know, it is the obsession with clean eating and clean foods. So I wouldn't let anybody else touch any of my food. I would only eat like single ingredient foods. I was very, very, very obsessed with healthy eating, and yeah, even though I didn't have a clue. So I had a hell of a lot of fear foods. I was scared to death of carbohydrates. So I started to, I made this book. I don't know where I got this idea from, but I had this book and I wrote Fear Foods as the title, and I wrote a list of every single thing, which if I know somebody gave it to me, I would freak out. So I saw this fear overcome if I had ticked it 3 times. So I made my way through these fear foods, and slowly but surely I started to feel stronger and stronger and stronger. Like mentally, I was like, oh my gosh, like 3 weeks ago I would not touch pasta, but now I can just eat pasta and it's fine. And it's things like that, and then you kind of like, I am winning this eating disorder. Like I'm getting better, I'm challenging those thoughts, and my mental health is getting stronger and stronger. And again, it's doing things like, I was so scared of going out to eat, so I was like, okay, you know, as hard as it was, I cried quite a few times before we went out, but I sent my dad a message and I was like, should we go out for food? So the whole family went out for food, and I overcome that fear, and I just kept pushing myself to do things. You know, there was times when I was like, right, I'm going to overcome the fear of going out with my friends and drinking alcohol and things like that. And there was times when the eating disorder defeated me. I'm not trying to be this hero who had this amazing recovery. There was times when it did defeat me, and I would come home and I would cry my eyes out, and I would just kind of, you know, spend a couple of days in this really dark place. And then I was like, no, you know, I'm going to beat this eating disorder because I want recovery. And that's when I'd start my challenges again. Yeah, those are the 3 kind of tips that I feel had most impact on my recovery, and I know that they've really helped other girls as well. And I think they're things which can help kind of anybody in anybody's journey, no matter what kind of like your triggers are, or what it is that you know, what kind of eating disorder you're going through. So yeah, I really, really hope that this video has helped. I felt like I was doing a disservice if I was just going to message everybody back, because you can only say so much on a direct message, and I genuinely just wanted to really kind of give something to you that I feel like would help. So, you know, if you're struggling with an eating disorder, then please, you know, make notes on this video, maybe watch it again, and try some of the things that I did in my recovery and see if it works for you. It might not, but hopefully it does. And if you know somebody who's struggling with an eating disorder, then send this video on to them as well, because I really do want to just try and help people. I just want people to recover. Like, ugh, eating disorders are just disgusting. They're just the worst things in the world, and I guess I just want to be like living proof that you can recover, you can get better, and there is a better life on the other side.